What's going on, guys? Welcome back. And I'm back again so soon after releasing my first video. But as I said, it wasn't actually... I didn't mean to make that video. I just realised, hey, do you know what? I can turn this into a quick bit of content for you guys, just in case anyone wants to see how I painted that tank. Because usually I would just paint it and be like, ta-da, done, I've done it. But anyway, after being in bed all week with the flu, feeling like absolute dog nuts, thank you on that note to everyone that said get well soon, take a little break, just relax, have some cowpole. Cowpole? Night nurse, that's where it's at. Rehabilitation needed for that addiction. Anyway, so I've been planning this in my head for a little while, but I've been even more thinking about it whilst I've been pretty much bed bound, just thinking to myself, what can I do to build this up? So what I've done is I've taken it out of the battlefield a little bit. I've taken it away from the battlefield to maybe a checkpoint or a gate to a garrison or barracks or base or whatever that this Imperial Fist tank is trying to get himself into, and you've got the guy in the high vis going, mate, take your finger off the date or I'm not letting you in. I've made a bit of a satire of how a gate normally functions, bit slap and cheek. So let's get into the build and let's see what I did, yeah? So, the build, what have I done? So I've started off, as I usually do, by just sketching out a quick, rough idea of where I want things to go. Now, these aren't set in stone in any way, shape or form, but they're more to help you and me to visualise how it's going to start looking, where things are going to go, bit of placement, and start setting things into stone for later on down the road, and just to give you a good bit of guidance. So, the next step that I've done for this, or the main thing that I've done with this build, is I've built it all out of materials that you can source at home quite easily. You could start off with a cereal box, or just your Amazon delivery box, or whatever you've got going on. Even that box of Space Marines, you could chop that up and use that in place of all the items that I've got here. So what am I using? I'm using MDF as standard, and I'm using bits of foam which I've had lying around for a little while. So I'm going to get my foam cutter out because I want to have a go using that, start getting used to working with it and seeing how it operates. So this wire cutter that I've got is pretty Billy Basics. It said it was temperature adjustable. It is not. So if you do see the £40 cheap version one on Amazon, just know that it's not adjustable temperature wise, but it does cut very nicely. And I mean, I've never used anything like this before, so it's a good experience for me, just getting nice and used to it. Yeah, I would suggest if you're looking at getting one, I'd look at getting this one. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it does exactly what it says in the tin. So now that we've got our bits of foam cut out, I mean, you could do this with cardboard. I just decided I wanted to do it with foam for this. But I wanted to raise up that road area, and also wanted to make some paving stones, as you will see a little bit later on. But we're going to glue it down now using any sort of white glue, so PVA, Mod Podge, anything like that. And once that's done, I'm going to put a bit of MDF over the top, just to cover it over, to make sure it stays in place. And I'm going to put some weights on it, so I'm going to put a bunch of codexes and my Imperial magazines that I haven't passed on yet. So just give it a bit of weight and make sure that it sets and dries nice and firm and flat. So once that's all settled done, we're just going to file down the edges a little bit, make sure it's all nice and smooth, and then we're going to repeat this process a few more times just to get the rest of our ground terrain set up. So let's crack on and see how that goes. getting really close to our goal now. So from just a couple of sketchy drawing lines on this bit of MDF, we've now got at what you can see before you. We've got our road, we've got our tank traps, we've got our pavement in, and we've got our guard hut with our barrier on it. I'm just using a herb shaker. You can pick them up from almost anywhere. Get them in Poundland, you can get them in Bargains Galore, Bastions if that still exists, you know, Asda, Tesco, Walmart, you name it. Even if you just go into the herb section, buy some herbs, use the herbs or dump the herbs out or use them for leaves later on. You've got yourself a herb shaker, and that's what I'm using to get the sand down so I can control the size rocks and sand grit that I'm getting on there. So once you're finished, you should end up with something very similar to what you can see in front of you. Now you may see those two little crucified guys on the right hand side there. I used the sprue from here with some skeleton, with the skeleton warriors kit that I've got, which I love using for kit bashing. And yeah, I basically turned the sprues into some crucifixes and added my skeletons to them. So I thought they made quite ingenious little lampposts. You know, lampposts, signposts. Yeah, you need somewhere to hang your signs, right? So I reckon it's just about time to start painting this up and really starting to submerge it into the universe that we're trying to seat it in, and get our guardsmen stagging on. So while I'm doing the cherry on the top in the background there, the pièce de résistance to this piece, which is the road, just remember, road markings are never solidly white lines. They're normally a bit more scuffed, which I didn't realise that I was doing, did the stop line here. So I went back, smudged a bit out, and just sort of went, hopefully the vehicle will cover over those mostly, which it does. But just remember, just sort of try to dry brush it on, and because this stuff, the paint comes off, look at a road and you'll see what I mean. So it's pretty much done at this point. I'm going to put some oil stains down, I'm going to put some rubber marks, I'm going to put I'm going to fleckle just all sorts of bits of like dots on it, just to make the road look really sort of well used and like lots of vehicles have been rolling over it. And once that's done, it's time for the final piece. And guys, thank you so much once again for joining me on this mini adventure. What I thought was going to be a diorama, I'm not going to glue the tank down. It's going to be a display board for all, but it's going to mostly stay with this Imperial Guard Vindicator. I love you guys as always. I really do hope to see you in the next one.